Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Other People Care About This, right? Right? Other people care about this. So when I was a kid, like a lot of other people, I was really into like Hardy Boys and Nancy Drew mysteries. And it's come to my attention recently that in the 70s there was a TV show, the Hardy Boys Nancy Drew Mystery Hour. I have the pilot episode of this show pulled up, and I really wanted to talk about it today. You would think that my dog would stop barking so that I could actually film this video. You would think that a show billed as being about the Hardy Boys and Nancy Drew would showcase the Hardy Boys and Nancy Drew solving crime together, and I believe they do that in some episodes, but basically this show would alternate between an episode about the Hardy Boys and then an episode about Nancy Drew. And then they would do like crossover episodes, like when shows would cross over with each other, but like the show would cross over with itself. We're only focusing on the Hardy Boys today, but I promise you it's still a wild ride. I just can't see anything. You know that an intro to a TV show is doing its job well when, as they're crediting people on screen, you just can't see their faces at all.
That's the Black Hawk Hotel. And there's Dad.
Now what do you have to say?
I see it, but I don't believe it. What's Dad doing at the Black Hawk Hotel if he told us he wanted to go fishing at the lake?
So the episode starts with the Hardy Boys doing two things. One, they're talking to each other in a way that no one talks to each other at all. Hello, friend. I've noticed that your boyfriend is posting pictures on Instagram of him out at a restaurant with a girl that isn't you. But that can't be. He told me he was busy today. Yes, remember how he told you that he was home taking care of his sick little sister today? But that's just the plot of Adventures in Babysitting, the 1980s movie. We should follow him and investigate. And two, they're stalking their dad for reasons unknown to me at this point in time.
Even if he didn't level us, I don't feel right following my own father.
Doesn't seem to bother him.
But it's funny because their dad is essentially being tailed by a person, and then the Hardy Boys are just tailing that person. You know that movie that Reddit has wanted to be made for forever? Hitman v. Hitman, where it's just two hitmen trying to take out each other. The setup to this episode is kind of like if the organizers of that Maroon 5 halftime show at the Super Bowl a couple years ago got a hold of that idea. This is what they would make with it. So they follow their dad out to a random cemetery that's very foggy and being lit by extremely bright moonlight. But let's just keep watching.
What's he doing now? Same thing we are? Sneaking around a cemetery in the dark?
Frank, what's he doing now? I know I'm standing right next to you and can see equally as well as you, but I need to ask you for plot reasons. What is our father doing right now?
Hey, here he comes. Let's get out of here. Let's go.
Yes, brother, we do not want to be spotted when we're tailing somebody, so let's stand in plain eyesight and then run away very loudly at the first sign of trouble.
Hey, what are you doing? You crazy? He's right behind us.
Be quiet, Frank.
It's a fine time to be stealing cough drops. I'm not stealing cough drops. I'm lifting a fingerprint.
So Joe is able to lift a fingerprint off of a package of cough drops, as you do when you are a teen detective.
Oh, come on, Frank.
Callie, he must have said something, even if it didn't seem important at the time. Try to remember.
If it didn't seem important at the time, why would I remember?
Well, Joe, we're just gonna have to level with her and tell her what's going on.
What is going on?
Yes, what is going on?
Yeah, what is going on?
Callie, have you noticed how Dad's been acting very suspicious and secretive?
Oh, since when is a fishing trip suspicious?
Since he didn't take his fishing gear with him.
We saw him a few hours ago in Emmettville.
Well, there must be some mistake. I made reservations for your father at the lake.
Callie, Herbie Stallmaster saw Dad at the county seat yesterday morning. He was coming out of the Black Hawk Hotel.
So Mr. Hardy had the absolute nerve to make up a fake cover story for himself that involved forcing his poor assistant to make reservations for him to a place that he had no intention of going to, and then didn't even have the decency to bring the fishing gear that he would have supposedly needed if he was actually going to the place, therefore keeping up his cover story? Come on.
We called and he was registered. We went over there.
What did you just say? He was there. He just cuts himself off in the middle of a sentence. God bless.
I think Dad was afraid of involving us. And now we know he could be in real danger. Yes, Black Hawk Hotel? Mr. Hardy's room, please.
Hey, what are you doing? He's gonna kill us when he finds out we were following him.
I don't think so.
I don't think Dad'll kill us. I'm 90%. Well, I'm 75% sure he won't kill us when he finds out.
He checked out an hour ago.
Well, that's that. He's probably on his way home to tell us all about the case right now.
But Mr. Hardy is in fact not on his way home. He is in the middle of a car chase that ends in him pretty much being abducted and held in a room for the majority of this episode. He's gonna be there for a while.
Lovely. You fellas do it yourselves, or did you hire a decorator?
Bars.
Mr. Hardy, it's my hope that you're going to take these questions I'm about to ask you very seriously.
And if I don't?
You'll be here a long time.
I'm gonna ask you this one more time. Where is the money? And what if I don't want to tell you? You'll be here a while. It'll be pretty inconvenient for you. Oh, that's cool. That's not a problem. I got nowhere to be.
Hardy, we can find out very easily who hired you.
Oh, then why did you find it necessary to kidnap me?
Kidnapped? Oh, are you under the impression that you've been kidnapped?
You're free to go.
Just as soon as you tell us who hired you.
So you definitely kidnapped him. I'm pretty sure that's the definition of kidnapping, sir.
There are just too many possibilities. I can't find any one new case that stands out.
I got a beauty that stands out here. Take a look at that.
Looks like a thumbprint.
Frank Hardy, as always, proving what a master detective he is.
Boys, it's almost 11 o'clock.
We're through here. First thing in the morning, we'll try to retrace all of Dad's last known movements. Good night.
What for? Your father will be home from his fishing trip in the morning.
So the Hardy Boys turn in for the night, but little do they know that these two absolute goons are breaking into their home, and the Hardy Boys have to creep downstairs to stop the break-in.
Frank, look out!
Frank, look out! I'm very observant and I can see the guy that's about to attack you, but I cannot see the guy 6 inches away about to also attack me. So after getting gently toppled over by a couple of TV bad guys, Frank Hardy decides to run off on his own on his motorcycle to chase them down. He promptly gets pulled over for not bothering to have on pants nor shoes, which I do not believe is a crime, but apparently it's enough for the cops. But before you feel too bad for Frank Hardy or anything, just know that the police kind of casually walk him home in a way that's very, shall we say, privileged.
Joe? Aunt Gertrude?
Frank, what happened to your pants?
What happened to your pants?
You fellas have any way of knowing if anything is missing?
I just found a lot of open drawers and scattered papers, but I lifted a fingerprint off the top of the filing cabinet.
Well, they didn't turn on their lights, so I couldn't see in the dark. But if the prints were the same, it was probably the same car we saw following our father in Emmettville.
Yeah, officer, we found a random fingerprint that isn't ours. There's some papers out of order. Oh yeah, and our dad has been ruthlessly being stalked by a creepy guy in a car that we don't know who he is.
I'm sorry, ma'am. I don't even know if there's been a crime. And in the meantime, you fellas, you stay off the streets in your pajamas.
You don't know if there's been a crime. Since when does somebody break into your house and the police just go, those aren't really burglars, those are more like surprise visitors?
In other words, you go to bed.
Bed. Bed! Look, Bronson, Emmettville Cemetery. That's where we follow Dad. It's an abbreviation. I can't read it for sure, but I think it says Haunted House in Brookdale, Tuesday, 2 a.m. sunny.
God, it's so hard to read. I can barely make out anything, but I can definitely tell that this is the entirety of the Communist Manifesto, followed by Subway's classic slogan, Subway Eat Fresh.
It's here. It's the last entry, plus the name Sunny, Tuesday, 2 a.m.
It's tomorrow.
It's tonight, 2 hours after midnight.
So the Hardy Boys learn how telling time works. It's a big moment for them, and they promptly go out in the middle of the night to follow up on this lead.
Wow. I'll be darned.
It's a house. So inside this place seems to be like some kind of tourist attraction or local hangout, but it is like the most confusing thing I've ever seen.
Excuse me. We're looking for someone named Sonny.
Tough and on your right.
They go inside, down the hall, through a sarcophagus, not a sarcophagus, into a coffin that has stairs, but also simultaneously just drops them on their ass somehow. And then there's a knight that tries to decapitate them, and then there's a crystal ball that laughs at them.
Welcome to the haunted house. If you survive the ordeal, we look forward to your joining us in the main crypt. If not, happy hereafter.
And so now they have to go through this like weird haunted house maze. And at this point the writers start playing this game that I like to call how many bad jokes can we fit into one scene? And they all win.
Don't worry, it's just like being in an amusement park.
I'm not amused. A child could get out of this place. Simply,
We better find a child.
at least he's having a good time. This is getting monotonous.
And redundant.
This is amazing.
No, this is a maze.
So they finally get through the maze and it dumps out to like a restaurant. Do all the customers of the restaurant have to go through that every single time they want to get a burger? Like, is that worth it? So they sit down in this restaurant where so much of the 1970s are happening all at once. It's just an offensive amount of 1970s.
This is your waitress, Madge. Have a good evening.
That like awkward shuffle out.
Well, 2 cheeseburgers and a couple of Cokes. What do you put on them?
Everything's on the side.
You know, you make some detective. I'd like to see you follow a guy more than the block without stopping for a burger.
I'm a growing boy. I need nourishment.
Sir, you are definitely in your mid to late 20s.
Yeah, I think we found Sonny.
I don't think he's exactly excited about seeing us either.
Let's go.
So the Hardy Boys abandon their food to chase the guy that they've been looking for this entire time out of the building.
Sonny! You check that side of the house. I'll go into the parking lot.
How did you find out about me?
Can I sit up? You're kind of heavy.
What a subtle way to call somebody chubby. So before Frank can get any real information out of this guy, he bolts. And Frank goes running after him. So while all this is happening, the Hardy Boys' dad gets some more information out of the guys that are holding him captive.
He was military attaché to Commander Buchholz. He knew every secret in NATO.
Something has triggered his recall.
All right. I'll bring him to you.
And then just decides that he's tired of being kidnapped and leaves, which I don't know why he didn't just do that before. I'm honestly a little bit confused. So back with the Hardy Boys, there's this really convoluted, confusing chase scene happening between like Frank and Joe and this guy and this other guy, where they're like chasing him through the woods, but then like the producers decided, oh shit, we spent all that money on that haunted house set. We better use it again. So then they chase him through the haunted house, and there's like 1,000 people in the haunted house. And then somehow, while this guy is just breaking mirrors like a maniac, Frank and Joe get this guy, Sonny, that they've been trying to talk to this entire time, out of the maze, and then they go driving and they end up back at the cemetery. Well, Frank goes driving with Sonny, and then Joe has to haul ass to like not get left behind as the car pulls off while he's got one foot in the back seat.
We've got Dad's client, but he's in trouble.
What kind of trouble?
Don't worry. Everything's under control now. We're hoping he can lead us to Dad.
Well, he was on his way to see that nothing happened to his evidence.
What evidence?
At the Never mind.
Smooth, very smooth.
Aunt Gertrude, Father doesn't know that we have his client with us, and that someone's trying to threaten him.
Oh, dear.
Oh, shit.
And that someone could be following us right now. Where's Dad?
So if at this point in the video you're thinking, I'm so confused, I don't actually know what's happening, you should be thinking that, because I thought that. I've seen this like 4 times now in prep to try to make this video, and like I'm still kind of confused on the plot of this show. But now we're gonna have an exposition scene that kind of tells us what's going on, but also not really.
I was in a military hospital, Navy. They were trying to get me to remember.
I'd been through some sort of shock and I didn't want to remember. They told me that I'd been working for our military forces in Europe. One day I disappeared for 48 hours. At the same time, some very important files were missing. When they found me, I didn't know who I was or what had happened to me. So to avoid international embarrassment over somebody selling out our allies, they leaked out the story that they had found me dead.
So something spy, something amnesia, something trade secrets of America. Cool.
All right, Jay, you stay in the car with Sonny. If I'm not back in 5 minutes, get out of here and go get help. I'm going in there.
He said to wait.
Look, I'm leaving you the keys. If I don't come back, I want you to get out of here as quickly as you can. You understand?
So both the Hardy Boys go running into the cemetery again.
Whoa! Joe!
Hey, Dad. What's up? Nothing much. What's going on with you?
Are you all right?
I twisted my leg, but I'll be fine. Who did this to you?
Some guys from Navy intelligence. I don't think they wanted to hurt me, but they sure didn't want me to see what they were doing either. Well, as near as I can figure it, they were trying to rob an empty grave.
Why would they do that?
They faked the death of Will Brunson. You know him as Sonny. He had done something that was embarrassing to our friends in the military.
He sold some secrets.
So now all three Hardy Boys are trying to protect this guy that had amnesia but now doesn't have amnesia and is in trouble because this guy is trying to kill him before he tells everybody something about trade secrets.
Hello, Will.
Hello, Commander.
It pains me to be here now like this.
Hold it! Hold it! Hold it!
Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and say it. There's way too many people in this episode. And they're all older to middle-aged white guys, and I cannot tell any of them apart, and I don't know any of their names, except for the Hardy Boys. Whoa!
Oh.
Hi there.
Wait a minute, has Frank just been chilling in that grave the entire time? I'm so confused. And then as if the writers of the show knew how confusing this was, we get like a summary scene where Aunt Gertrude makes like 16 cups of coffee and everybody explains everything that happened in the entire episode.
You know what I don't understand is why the phony grave?
The Navy suspected Will of selling them out because he was missing at the same time. Some files were missing.
So in order to gain some time, they invented the cover story that he had died.
I think the Navy will be pleased with our report. And, Mr. Hardy, I want to thank you and your two boys.
My hero.
Hey, when am I? Chopped liver over here?
And then on what has to be the cringiest note ever, the entire episode just ends. So, I don't know, man. This show is like the most 1970s thing I've ever seen. And I kind of love it for that. It's super confusing and doesn't make sense like half of the time, but I'm very glad that I found it. I think at some point in the future I'm going to do another video where I talk about an episode that just focuses on Nancy Drew. One, because I love Nancy Drew, and two, content. But yeah, that's the end of this episode, so that's pretty much all I got for you guys today. So yeah, let me know in the comments, what do you think about this? Like, do you remember when this TV show was on? Were you not confused by this episode? Am I just really dumb? Let me know about that in the comments too. But anyways, thank you guys for watching this video. If you are new here and you want to see more nonsense, don't forget to subscribe. Share this video with somebody that you think will find it interesting. But however you support this channel, I really appreciate it. My name is Avery. I am a YouTuber if you say so, because thanks to you guys, this is technically a YouTube channel. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.